Welcome to Political Checkmate, and today is election day, and I am trying to make this video quick. Trump or Harris might be elected as president. It looks to be a tight race, from the polls and different scholars making a prediction on who wins the presidency. So if Kamala wins, I am not going to be excited, and I have done 2 videos doing a checkmate critique of Kamala Harris's economic policies. So that is why I will checkmate Robert Riech's garbage case for Kamala Harris. Hopefully this finalizes my last critique of Kamala Harris on my channel if she does not win the election.
Why am I excited for a Kamala Harris presidency?
Are you ready to make your voices heard?
Let me tell you in 90 seconds. 1, she'll lower food prices by stopping unfair mergers that reduce competition and give corporations the power to charge you more. 2, her plan to take on the housing crisis would stop Wall Street from gobbling up houses, crack down on rent gouging, fund new home construction, and help first-time homebuyers with their down payments. 3, she'll tackle corporate greed by proposing the first federal ban on price gouging. 4, she'll protect reproductive freedoms by codifying Roe v. Wade.
The government and Donald Trump certainly should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
5, she'll unrig our tax system by increasing taxes on corporations and the rich without raising taxes on middle and low.
Well, the Kroger merger would probably decrease food prices, as Georgetown economist John Mayo writes. The Kroger-Albertson merger would create the potential for the combined firm to lower both its distribution costs and the prices it pays wholesalers to acquire its products. If this were to happen, the combined Kroger-Albertson, with its reduced costs, could become a more formidable competitor to these large competitors. Of course, it would increase prices for local markets with concentrated markets, but local markets that have mergers in low concentrated markets have experienced decreases in prices, like New York, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. Based off the data, I doubt the Kroger-Albertson merger would increase prices because both grocery chains have low profit margins below 2%. In fact, their market share has declined from 37% to 25%. This merger would allow the business to be more competitive with economic scales to compete against Costco and Walmart to provide even cheaper prices. I personally think we should get rid of price-elevating government policies that increase the price for products like dairy or agriculture or fish. While on housing, like Kirk Wilcox has a video debunking Robert Riech on the claim that Wall Street is behind the price increases in housing. On the claim about rents from landlords, I believe you're talking about the RealPage being behind the increases in rents. My response would be that RealPage has been used around 30% of rental units in metro areas, and nationally less than 10%, so the majority of landlords don't use RealPage, so it does not have much market power over the economy. I honestly think that landlords use rent accommodation algorithms to be responsive to changes in the market price, which would cause it to increase or decrease rental rents. That is what this study from UPenn found. I agree about the concept of building more houses by getting rid of housing regulations. While for down payments of housing, I fear that would cause the 2008 housing crisis that historian Tom Woods has argued was being one of the causes, being easier time for people who couldn't get access to homes in the first place to later default on their mortgages. On the topic of price gouging ban, even economists who worked for Obama thinks this is a bad idea. I'm going to quote Jason Furman. "This is not a sensible policy," Furman told the New York Times. "The biggest hope is that it ends up being a lot of rhetoric and no reality. If prices do not rise in response to strong demand, new companies may not have much inclination to jump into the market to ramp up supply. Of course, the action of price controls are bad because in this book, The 40 Centuries of Wage and Price Controls, How Not to Fight Inflation, looked at multiple events in history and found that they are failures because they cause things like starvation, shortages, and government overreach. While for reproductive freedom, I would say that Kamala does support control people's bodies, such as vaccine mandates. We can debate the merits and justification of the vaccine mandate, but at the end of the day, you're controlling a person's body. I am personally pro-life because of a living creature has property rights, meaning they own their bodies, and the fetus did not consent to the abortion, but that is a video for another day. Now with the taxes, the Tax Foundation has analyzed both Trump and Harris economic policies. They found that Harris would decrease GDP by 2% and cost 786,000 jobs and wages by 1.2% in the long run, but at least raising tax revenue by $1,697 billion, while Trump would increase GDP by 0.8 and wages 0.8 and jobs by 597,000 in the long run, but decrease tax revenue by $3,013.2 billion.
Income Americans. 6, she'll fight child poverty by restoring and expanding the child tax credit, including a
$6,000 tax credit for the first year of a child's life,
along with establishing free universal preschool. 7, Harris supports raising the federal minimum wage and wants to get rid of the sub-minimum wage for tip workers and workers with disabilities, which currently allows millions to be paid hourly wages as low as $2.13 an hour. Wait, I'm already at 90 seconds. These are very important. A little bit more? Yes? Okay. 8, she'll lower healthcare costs by prioritizing a $35 insulin cap and a $2,000 out-of-pocket prescription drug cap for everyone. 9, she'll support elder care by calling for Medicare to finally cover home health care coverage for seniors. This would provide much-needed aid to millions of people struggling to take care of aging family members. Now, I know I'm over time. These are important too. Can I just go on? Okay. 10, Harris supports paid family.
The economists Bruce Mayer and Kevin Corinth argued that simply with the $3,600 child tax credit would cost more than $100 billion, which is more than we spend on non-medical means tested programs, food stamps, and earned income tax credit. It would also cause 1.5 million workers to exit the workforce, while child poverty would cause 22 or less % decline, and deep child poverty would not fall at all. On child care, this study from the American Economic Association looked at Quebec child care programs and found that children who did this program in the long run had worse health and lower life satisfaction and higher crime rates in the long run. While on minimum wage, a literature review found that it destroys jobs, and this study found that increasing the tipped minimum wage would lower employee earnings in employment. On price caps on medicine, it would lower medical innovation because cutting prices by 40 to 50% in the USA would cause a 30 to 60% fewer R&D projects. After all, in 2019, Canada implemented price controls and it caused a 40% decline in new drugs launched in Canada. Now with elderly care, the economist Mark J. Warshawski article does a great takedown of the program's loss by pointing out it would cause problems like reducing the incentive to save, and would be costly, and would favor those who already afford it. While with paid leave, it would decrease employment because it increased the cost to employ people. After all, a study from the American Economic Association found that paid family leave in California reduced employment and earnings roughly a decade after they gave birth for first-time mothers. Finally, medical debt relief. This study from the Harvard Business School looked at 83,401 people from 2018 to 2020 who had their medical debt relief and found it had no impact on credit access and no effect on mental health. The possible reason could be because these people have other forms of debt they owe, and also the negative emotional attachment of getting a handout comes into play. Now with the rest of the video, with the remaining 4 points on the voting and Supreme Court, I don't really have anything to say. While with the first black woman president, I quite frankly don't give a damn, because a person that has bad policies shouldn't be president. If Trump was a black female person or some random category of diversity, would Robert Riech really promote him to be president? With the final claim that Kamala Harris cares about people compared to Trump, I would simply say, should a medically unskilled child do your surgery? My point is, I don't care if a person has good intentions. We should care about the results. As the saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I personally think that the idea that Kamala cares about people is overstated, because this video from Koleon Noor talks about Kamala Harris history on violating people's constitutional rights, while the channel Don't Walk Run Production makes good videos defending Trump, such as pointed out in 1989, Trump personally paid a person's medical bills. Of course, Trump is definitely not a perfect guy, and some of his policies would harm this country, like the tariffs and immigration deportations. That is why I'm honestly not a big fan of this election if either one wins. And if I had to choose between the two, I guess I would choose Trump because of people who I politically respect would vote for him, like Mentis Wave. But I am still not happy because there is no person that appeals to me like Ron Paul or Javier Milei. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and please donate to my Patreon so I can make more videos and have your video requests checkmated. And thanks for watching, and have a nice day.